consider before you give up your green card voluntarily. Practically speaking, people from all over the world want to come to the U.S. They will look at every possible visa option that will allow them to work and stay in the U.S. permanently, and if not permanently, at least long term. However, there are also few people who have their green card, but for various reasons want to abandon it voluntarily. Most of these people want to give up green card status because they spend most of their time outside the U.S., either because of family or employment. Being a permanent resident of the U.S., you are expected to spend most of your time inside the U.S. If you don't, you run the risk of having your permanent resident status terminated. And if the green card is canceled by an immigration officer, it will be particularly difficult to obtain green card status again. Thus, some permanent residents of the U.S. who work and or stay outside the U.S. for long periods of time give up their green card voluntarily, usually seeking to do so before it can be canceled. The one clear advantage of giving up your green card status voluntarily is that you can apply again in the future if you want to. However, in this article, we're going to give you several reasons why you should think twice before taking such a drastic step. Let's take a look at somebody who has this in mind. Kenji is a national of Japan and a permanent resident of the U.S. He has been working for a U.S. company in Japan for the last 6 years. He has continued to get re-entry permits, but has to come back to the U.S. each time that it has to be renewed. He knows that he will eventually relocate permanently back to the U.S. where the rest of his family is. But he is tired of the constant and current hassle. He is thinking it would be easier if he just gave up his green card and came to the U.S. on the visa waiver program when he wants to visit his family, until he's ready to come back permanently. Is this a good plan for Kenji? There are several issues that Kenji needs to think about first. Following are 15 things, a short list, that you should consider before you give up your green card voluntarily. Number 1, if you relinquish your lawful permanent resident status, but wish to regain it in the future, you must qualify all over again for the status. Number 2, abandonment of lawful permanent resident status is irrevocable. Number 3, if you give up your green card and permanent resident status, you will have to apply for an appropriate visa to enter the U.S. again. Number 4, like all other foreign nationals, every time you want to come to the U.S. after you give up your green card, you will need a new visa and you will have to go to the consulate for your visa interview. Number 5, your journey, any time accumulated, towards U.S. citizenship will come to an end after you give up your green card. Number 6, you cannot sponsor your spouse and or unmarried children for permanent residence after you give up your green card. Number 7, any petition you filed for your family members before you give up your green card will be deemed abandoned when you terminate your green card status. Number 8, giving up a green card, you will lose the right to apply for government-sponsored financial aid for education. Number 9, your green card gives you the ability to work for any company located in any U.S. territory, regardless of the job function, hours of the week, etc., except for certain companies that, for national security reasons, only hire U.S. citizens. With a green card, there is no need for employer sponsorship. However, upon giving up the green card, you will lose this right. Number 10, you cannot start and run your own business or corporation after giving up your green card. You will need to have an appropriate visa to do this. Number 11, unlike permanent residents, if you come to the U.S. on a non-immigrant visa, your spouse and children will lose their dependency status as soon as you lose yours. For instance, if you are in the U.S. on an H-1B visa and your spouse and children are on H-4, they will lose their status as soon as you are laid off from your H-1B petition. However, if you obtained a green card for your family, they will retain it even if you give up or lose your status. Number 12, if you are a green card holder, your spouse and minor children, unmarried children under 21 years of age, can qualify for permanent residence as dependents. And once permanent residence is granted, they are allowed to stay in the U.S. with the right to work and attend school, unlike many non-immigrants. On the contrary, after giving up your U.S. green card, your spouse and children will have to obtain the appropriate visas to study and work, except in a few visa categories. Number 13, In many cases, you cannot get a mortgage for home purchase if you are a non-immigrant in the U.S. Many banks require green card or some other long-term visa before granting a mortgage. Many banks may charge higher rates for non-green card holders for that same mortgage. Number 14, changes in the immigration rules may hurt your chances of obtaining a non-immigrant visa to the U.S., whereas if you do not run the risk of losing your green card if there are changes in the immigration rules. You may lose your green card only when you violate the terms of your green card status. Number 15, green card holders receive Social Security benefits when they retire, whereas non-immigrant visa holders do not. Think twice before you give up your green card. If you stay outside the U.S. for extended periods of time, or if you work outside the U.S., you should take considerable measures to protect your green card status. The benefits that you enjoy being a permanent resident of the U.S. outweigh any efforts that you may have to take to protect your green card status. Keep the points discussed in this article in mind if you're thinking of giving up your green card voluntarily. Now, after reviewing some of the issues surrounding giving up your green card, is it wise for Kenji to do so? While the ultimate decision is up to Kenji, the benefits of the green card far outweigh the current hassles that he is experiencing. If you have any questions about the pros or cons of giving up your green card status, consult a Visa Pro immigration attorney. We will be happy to guide you through this process.